Okay, man, Krishna. So again, a brief introduction on mine before we get started. My name is Mohammed Shoaib. I'll be your cybersecurity trainer for this entire duration of the course. I currently work as a senior penetration tester based in Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh, and I've been working in this domain for the last 6+ years, and I've been training students from the last 5 years or so. And I think with DURGASOFT, it's been almost 4 years. So again, I train students on multiple courses. This is one of them, Certified Ethical Hacking V13. I train students on SOC analysis. I train students on web application pen testing. And again, but for people who are planning on getting started in cybersecurity, this is the first go-to course. Okay, this explains everything from the very fundamentals, understanding what cybersecurity is, understanding what various cyber threats are, what are the actual tools used in organizations for various operations in cybersecurity. And it covers pen testing on every single endpoint up to intermediate level. Okay. So now again, when you talk about this certification or this course, Certified Ethical Hacking, a lot of students have a misconception that hacking and ethical hacking are one and the same. But yeah, that's a wrong idea. Let me clarify on that. So when you talk about hacking, this is basically the procedure of trying to gain access to information systems. Okay. Now, these information systems could be anything. They could be as small as a mobile phone to as big as a web application server or a database. So, hacking is a procedure of trying to gain access to information systems without the consent and without the knowledge of the person or the organization owning those systems. And why do hackers try to get this access? So that they can steal your data, they can modify or destroy your data, or sell your data to other people over the internet. And sometimes hackers just do it mischievously, just for fun. Okay. Now, if hacking is such a malicious activity, why do we have a course called ethical hacking? How is this getting ethical in the first place? To define ethical hacking, this is a procedure of trying to find vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities are nothing but loopholes or flaws or weaknesses in the system. So these weaknesses are utilized by hackers to get access to your devices. So what we do as ethical hackers is we basically try to find the vulnerabilities. Okay. Just a second. Yeah, we ethical hackers basically try to find these vulnerabilities or loopholes in the information systems with the consent and with the knowledge of the organization. So we work hand in hand with the organization, again, check out what vulnerabilities exist in the infrastructure, and then we report the vulnerabilities back. We tell the company that these are the vulnerabilities we have found, and then we have to report it so that they can get remediated or patched up. And once the vulnerabilities have been patched, you're closing all the doorways for the hackers to enter into the systems. So you're thereby protecting the organization by finding the vulnerabilities, reporting, and remediating them. So depending on those two categories of hacking, we have the multiple types of hackers. There's someone known as a white hat hacker, a gray hat hacker, and a black hat hacker. Your black hat hackers are typical cyber criminals who perform hacking for their own benefit. On the other end, we have white hat hackers, the cyber professionals who work by the law and policies of the company and work for securing the company. And in between, there's a third mysterious category called grey hat hackers. Now, these are people who have both the qualities of black hat as well as white hat. So, like a black hat hacker, they basically, again, don't ask for permission. But once they find a vulnerability, they report it back to the company like a white hat hacker. So they're working both offensively and defensively at various times. But again, what they do this is all for bounties. Bounties are financial rewards. They report the bugs in return for a bounty. Hence, they're also commonly known as bug bounty hunters. Okay. Now, all of these three hackers or categories of hackers are professionals who perform hacking or ethical hacking in a certain procedure. And that procedure is called cyber kill chain. So, cyber kill chain is a procedure that hackers follow in order to perform a successful cyber attack. So, the probability of the attack is much higher of being successful when this procedure is followed exactly step by step. Okay. And the same procedure also allows cybersecurity professionals to understand how hacking is being performed. How do you detect these attacks at the earliest time possible, and how do you prevent them at every level in the organization? Because unless and until you know what is a factor that is leading to the attack, you wouldn't know how to protect against that or defend against it. So cyber kill chain allows both hackers and cyber professionals alike to understand how to perform these attacks and prevent them in the organization as well. Okay. Any questions or doubts up to this point, Krishna? Yeah, assuming no questions. Moving on. So now, again, the cyber kill chain consists of five important steps in it. There's something called as information gathering, there's something called as scanning, there's something called as gaining access, maintaining access, and reporting or clearing traces. So these are the five steps involved in the cyber kill chain. No matter which organization you work for, you're going to work on the same exact five steps itself. Okay. And I'll briefly explain what these steps are today in our demo. So firstly, when you talk about information gathering, this is all about, I think from the name itself, you can figure out, this is all about you trying to obtain as much information as possible about the target organization. An important point to note, all of this information is obtained passively from third-party sources on the internet. So you're basically trying to figure out what information is available about the organization on the internet, which can be leveraged to attack that organization itself. Okay. So the main question that arises here is what information should we be finding? And this here is the information as follows. As a penetration tester or an ethical hacker, or even cyber criminals as well, these are the pieces of information they first find. IP addresses, whose records, DNS records, domains and subdomains, operating system information, employee details, contact numbers of the employees, email addresses of the employees, usernames and passwords which have been leaked online by those employees, etc. etc. Believe it or not, all of this information is readily available on the internet. The only thing is we need to know what those websites are from where we can obtain that information. Okay. Moving on, once all this information has been obtained, that is utilized in the scanning phase. So this is where you make direct connections now to the target organization with the information you've obtained earlier. And you try to get some extra data from them, or internal infrastructure data specifically. Okay. To understand scanning in a much better way, we can divide it in three parts. There's something called as network scanning, port scanning, and vulnerability scanning. Network scanning is where we figure out in the internal organization what devices exist, what is their internal networking topology. Okay, so again, what firewalls are they using, what intrusion detection systems are they using, or IPS intrusion prevention systems are they using, what servers are they using? Do they have web servers, FTP servers, DNS servers, DHCP servers? So figuring out their internal networking topology is network scanning. Once you know what devices exist, on those devices, you're performing port scan, figuring out what ports are open and what services are running on those ports. And finally, you have vulnerability scanning, where you figure out what vulnerabilities are existing on any of those services. So it's a step-by-step procedure. You're finding the devices first. On the devices, you're figuring out what services are available. On those services, you're looking for vulnerabilities. So there's a lot of tools we'll be using here. Tools like Nmap or Tenable, Nessus, etc. etc. Same exact tools which are used in real time in organizations. And once you know what vulnerabilities exist, then the next phase is gaining access, the phase where the real hacking occurs. So this is basically the main topic of the entire course. It covers a vast majority of different modules. Okay, but the main agenda here is to attack every single endpoint. So we talk about system security, malware attacks, network security, network-based attacks, Wi-Fi attacks, social engineering attacks, hacking web servers or web application attacks, firewall attacks, and mobile phone attacks. So basically, you're learning how to attack every single endpoint, no matter what device it exists in the organization. We learn how to attack every single endpoint, and we also learn how to defend them from the various cyber threats. Okay, so once we have learned how to attack and defend, then comes the maintaining access phase, where we learn how to maintain persistent connections with the target. So even if you restart the device, the hacker tries to maintain a connection with that system. So that's called maintaining access. And once that has been obtained, finally you have reporting or clearing traces, where we learn as ethical hackers, how do we generate a report for the organization? Or basically as non-ethical hackers, how do they remove the evidence of their actions? How do they delete the logs on the target? So those are the 5 steps in the hacking cycle, Krishna. Again, I know I've skipped it through a lot because again, this is just an introductory phase. But again, I've taken a much more in-depth demo or a complete workshop on this in the earlier sessions, and I can share the link for that for now. So you can just go to YouTube and search for DURGASOFT cybersecurity. Oh, sorry, and you would get multiple demo links here. So the one which I would recommend you to go through is this workshop link. Yeah, uh, one second. Where is this? Yeah, this one. You can go through this one. I'll be sharing this link in the chat. So yeah, that's that. Nothing further for the session today, Krishna. Again, this course is for a duration of 35 days, where we have classes from Monday to Friday, every day for 1 hour each. And again, it is going to contain all the live sessions. You'll be getting the recordings for the sessions, the documentation, these presentation files, and we'll be covering everything from the very fundamentals. So before we dive into the hacking cycle, we cover basic networking fundamentals as well, basic Linux fundamentals as well, and then we dive into the hacking concepts. Okay, so again, the course is priced at 10,000 rupees, which can be paid in 2 installments, and you can discuss those details with the institute, Krishna. So yeah, any questions or doubts on your end before we conclude the session? Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, Krishna, I can hear you.
Hello. Uh, Sir, I completed my BTech in 2021, and then I
Okay,
worked, and then I uh, prepared for government exam for 3 years, 3 to 4
okay,
years.
okay, okay.
So, is there any chance in it, or else?
Yeah, definitely. That's not a problem at all, Krishna. Again, this is an ever-evolving domain. Again, cybersecurity has been in demand for the last 5 years. Now they're including AI as well, and they're basically finding vulnerabilities in AI too. So it's getting slightly more in demand as we progress. So again, doesn't matter. Again, even if you're a fresher or already an experienced person from a different domain, I've had people coming in from completely different non-technical backgrounds as well, working in the marketing agencies with MBA for the next last 5 6 years, and then coming shifting to cybersecurity. So that's not at all a problem, Sai Krishna. Only thing is you need some again good interest in the subject to learn and understand the concepts and perform them practically. And again, learning all these tools, that's more than sufficient. So the only thing required is your interest, and again you can perform again freelancing as well through this course, performing bug bounty and finding vulnerabilities and including that in your report to show that you're skilled and you've not wasted or again delayed any of these years in between. So that is also possible. So with this course you can apply for jobs up to 3 years, so you can put up a fake experience as well. That's not a problem. But yeah, up to 3 years this course is perfectly fine.
What about the placement?
DurgaSoft isn't providing a placement, but again, I do keep getting references from a lot of HRs. So whenever there's a request for a placement, I post those interview again those basically slots to the students myself directly. So they're not performing any consultancy services, DurgaSoft specifically. But again, since I have contacts or again a few HRs in touch, I'll be sharing these interview again dates myself, Krishna.
Is there any Telegram account, or do you have any Telegram
No,
account,
this
or
is
else?
again DurgaSoft specifically, not mine actually. But I'll be creating a WhatsApp group for all the students. So I'll be sharing
Okay.
that. I'll be giving you my personal WhatsApp number directly.
Yes. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
Yeah. No, sir.
Okay, Krishna. So yeah, we can exit here. I think our batch will be starting from Monday at the same time. So you can register with the institute before that. And yeah, from Monday we'll have
Okay,
a
sir.
first session, which is networking fundamentals.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Krishna. Bye bye. Good day.